Welcome back, boys, to the beginning of term 2. I hope that you've had a good break. I know the break has been a different type of a break to what we've had in the past. And I'm hoping that some of you found the opportunity or found time to try a new project, plant a garden, cook meals at night time, build a model or read a book. I've heard a number of stories that have been quite encouraging. One of them, in fact, was quite interesting too. Junior school boys decided that they would head to the Oval each day. They were brothers as part of their keeping active program. And then one of them decided that they would time the other as they ran around the Oval. And they now head to the Oval every day to try and break their lap record. Whatever it might be, I'm encouraging you to put that screen down and try and find a project that you can do away from the screen. With the remote learning continuing for the beginning of term 2 or tomorrow, we spend a lot of our time looking at screens, either for our learning or perhaps it's just for leisure. We might be watching YouTube, gaming, social media. But so much of our life is going through the screen at the moment. So boys, try and find time to put that screen down. If you didn't find a project to do over the holidays that involved, for example, a garden or cooking, that's okay. It's not too late to set a goal for this term that involves a project going forward. So tonight, as you start thinking about the beginning of school tomorrow, I encourage you to set a goal or set goals for this term. Those goals will be around learning, but they'll also include how your well-being and also being active. But as I said, let's try and find some goals that involve putting down those screens. When you set the goals, make sure that they're specific and don't make them too big because you want to make sure that you can achieve them. If the goal's vague or it's very big, it can be hard to achieve and soon before we know it, we forget about the goal. So tomorrow morning, we wake up and it's the beginning of term 2. Not the last day or the next day of school break, but the beginning of term 2. And that's going to be tricky. Do you remember back in term 1 after the summer break, coming back to school, and how hard it was to wake up on that first day, have breakfast, get in your uniform and get to school? What helped us though on that day was there was a bus to catch. Someone was going to drive us to school or we had to walk or ride our bikes. But tomorrow there's no bus and there's no lift. We wake up in the same place that we've just been enjoying 2 weeks rest, and now we've got to switch modes and start working, and that's hard. So tonight, as I said, I'd like you to think about some goals, but also think about setting up a routine. Start planning for the day ahead and set that alarm tonight. And when it goes off in the morning, don't press snooze. Hop out of bed. It's going to be hard. I know you'll be tired, but let's start the new term with a fresh new reset. It's been interesting over the last 4 weeks while I've been on the campus, and obviously we've been in home-based learning. The buildings are empty, and as I looked out my office window, even today I looked out my office window, and at the quad, the canteen and the ovals, and where I would see many of you gathered together or kicking a ball or eating lunch, it's now silent, and it's the same for the school grounds across the school. We understand that, but what's really important is that these school buildings and school grounds are not what makes Hutchins. You do. It's the boys and the staff. And so with that in mind, as we start the next term, I really encourage you to continue that sense of community. I encourage you to stay connected with each other. If you haven't spoken to a person in your class for a little while, make a special effort to make contact with them, not necessarily through class, but perhaps afterwards. Staying connected is very, very important. As I said, it's been 4 weeks now since we were all on campus together, sharing classes and enjoying each other's company. This is a long time. For some of you, you might be starting to feel a little bit tired of being stuck at home or frustrated, or you might be worried or anxious about something. I remind you that our staff are here to support you. So if you're feeling lonely, anxious, frustrated, worried, please make contact with your class teacher. It might be with the chaplains, the school counsellors, the heads of year, or your assistant heads of school. But whatever it might be, please let us know. We are here to help. One of the things that can happen when we're having 4 weeks of this physical distancing is that we can start to worry about things like it might be the exams for the year 11 and 12 boys at the end of the year, or it might be about the health situation in the community more broadly. I think that we're really lucky. I'm very grateful that we live in Tasmania, that we attend this wonderful school. I can only imagine what it's like in other parts of the world. And so with that in mind, I remind our boys, or remind all of you, to stay positive. That's easily said and not always easily done. So as we go into this next term, and I was talking about goals, one of my goals is to write a gratitude journal. So every day I'm going to set my alarm at a certain time. It might be 7 p.m. at night on my phone. And when that phone goes, I know that it's time for me to think about the day that's just gone by and what happened in that day that I'm really grateful for, that I appreciate. It might be something simple, like a meal that someone prepared for me. It might be a phone call when someone called me to say, "How are you?" Whatever it might be the weather even on a nice warm sunny day. You don't have to write it down, but I do want you to have a moment in the day, set the alarm, where you stop and think about something positive that happened today. If we do it every day, it can become a habit, a good habit that can continue well into the future. As I said, this school is you. And so while we are missing you and we're very much looking forward to having you back, I personally can't wait to have you back. I can't wait to hear the school song being sung at an assembly. I can't wait to hear our boys screaming the war cry in the future. But that day will come, and it will come quickly, I'm sure. But in the meantime, boys, stay connected, stay engaged, and stay positive. And as I said before, we are here to help you. All the best for the beginning of term 2.